guys, Star here. Just wanted to share this cool tip with you. So, if you've ever tried to use these textural brushes and stuff to try to get like really cool leaf results really fast, you've probably noticed a problem. It doesn't look right. For example, like this is meant to be the example where you try the typical way, but it occurs to me, not everyone will know what I consider the typical way. So let's try these bird branches. This one's nice. I like this brush. Let's hide this stuff for now. Let's choose a nice dark color and check this out. So let's say you do all of this lovely little that. Then you're like, oh yeah, I need a brighter color. Let's get a brighter color. Let's put that in there. Work on the lighting. Let's just say it's coming from up here. Since it's kind of a longish sphere, we do it like this. Maybe even add a little white on top. But this doesn't have as much depth as it could have. Check this out now. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You put that darker color, the shadows right on top. It helps to like create those like holes that you see in trees where like you can see right into the depths of it. But you don't actually have to draw everything right. Then you go over it with this middle color. You can go over it with the highlight. You can go over all of that again with the middle color if you like to like really like help it blend in. I'll even like take some more of this here actually. Take that darker color, push it over. Take a middle color, push it over. Take your highlight, and let's reestablish the lighting a little bit. And now we take that bright, bright highlight and put it all back on top. And look at that! That has a lot more depth than before, right? Let me copy paste this and go back to how it was before we did all that. And do this. Look at them next to each other. Sure, we probably have to go through and, like, re-add that shadow. Oh gosh, that's the wrong brush. Re-add that shadow back in, but look at that. It's not too difficult, and you can kind of get this. It looks more 3D. It looks more, like, depthy. If you want even more depth, you go over it again with some of the other, like, the middle color and the highlight. Go over it like this. Build it back up, Every time you make more of those layers, it gets more 3D-y. And this works with brushes that are not necessarily for plants, too. Though I did do mostly plant-based studies. Like, this is how I did this one. And this one. This one was an example of me not doing that with a different type of brush. Following this version of it. But this also works with making any sort of thing that has a lot of texture and is meant to have a lot of depth. For example, like this cloud it doesn't have as much texture as it could, but you can kind of see the way it works here with kind of the motions you might do with your brush, with like making these round shapes, blocking out the forms and all. It works really, really nicely with the grass. And it even works when you're just using a plain round brush or like a blendy brush. Let's say I take my cell shading brush, for example. It's not my brush, it's this one, but it's what I use. Like, you go like this. You add a little woo. Take this boy back. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. If you want even more depth, go do, do, do. Keep going with it. Now you, like, add some highlight. Do some of that. Feels too light, do that. And, like, you still can, like, pay attention to things like, of course, lighting, form, etc., and you should. But this helps you create that sense of depth, and it feels like it's layered because, well, it is. This can apply to a lot of things. It's really about that contrast between the layers, making them stand out. Like, here's like, let's say with like some kind of fur or something. Let's do this. Take that again. And you get this more, this is silly looking, but you get that rougher form, and from afar it looks much more like fur. And if you were to say actually blend it or something, it would probably look more like fur, but you get the right lighting stuff going, Obviously, like I said, it looks best on these, like, on the grass But, like, you know, it works great on pretty much almost any kind of textural brush. I have some other examples. That was one of my earlier attempts. It doesn't look as good, but you can see it in a rougher form here. And you can see the, like, big shapes that forms, you know? And I think those big shapes are really important. The gaps between the leaves and things, it really adds depth. Oh, this was with a pretty little early plant attempt. This was with a hard round brush trying to simulate what I do with the leaves. Here's with some mountains. Here's just a, I think it's a, some sort of impact crater with the, like, dirt. This clay. Oh, I'm sideways. And, you know, other things. Oh, that's right. I also added a blur effect on this one's previous layer behind, because it looks nice. It adds a lot of depth, too. So you can, like, you know, do this with some, like, some blur layers. Do some blurring and stuff. It really does add so much. You can just kind of go on top and then, like, you know, do a little blurring, go back with your, like, textural brushes and just, like, go wild with it. Let me find some sort of nice leaves. I have so many leaves. Oh, that's so many leaves. Okay, we're just gonna grab something, even though it's not the right leaf, to demonstrate. Oh no, this is a little too transparent. Or you're gonna want something harder to match. There we go, okay. That's actually not that far off. You do that, you do that. And look at that. Now you've got some transparent leaves, some non-transparent leaves, and it adds just a little bit more depth. This works with, like, it works a little less with the hue shifty brushes, but it does still work. You can potentially, like, you know, go over them with other brushes to like, further break it up. You can use transparent brushes to blend things together a little bit when they merge just a little too much. There's a lot you can do with this idea, and I really hope that you guys will find this useful. And you can do it with, like, the trees, too, like, to make those, like, fit together better and things like that. It's really, really helpful for getting that sense of depth going that you need in a piece. Especially if you're doing, like, backgrounds and stuff like that. Though this does apply to, like, textures, too. This is a very helpful thing to know how to do. And it's probably obvious to everyone else. I don't know. But for me, this was helpful, and I kind of just figured it out by playing around. And that's something you kind of, like, are going to do with art a lot, really. You're going to play around. You're gonna have fun. You also could have, like, atmospheric perspective between layers with, like, a blur brush if you wanted. Not blur brush. A soft, like, brush. Oh, not that one, though. Like this one, you know, throw a little, woo, get your leafy little guy and go, whoa, that's not it. Go through like this, and now you've got, like, that sense of depth, and it looks a lot like, you know, fun, cool, anime-esque backdrop joy. You understand. I find that putting the lighter colors on the very top tends to help, especially, but you probably don't have to, especially, like, if you feel like, if the lighting situation makes sense, it makes sense, you know? And you can just do that kind of thing. Really go crazy. Try things out. Try it with vines and leaves and, like, all sorts of brushes. See what beautiful effects you can get. There's so many cool possibilities with brushes, and you can get a lot more out of them once you learn how to handle them the right way. There's definitely a difference between just slapping them down and, like, you know, really knowing how they work, and I'm still trying to figure out the best ways that work for me, you know? And I hope maybe this will help you find a good way to use them too that works for you and your workflow. I definitely had a lot of fun playing around with this, and I hope you will too. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful. Have an awesome day, my little stars! Doo-doo! Oh, it didn't stop? But